This is
Coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Paulie by Design.
respected at all times.
Broadcasting from San Francisco, California, the city by the bay.
It's about to go down.
We shine on positive Pacific Islander role model every Sunday.
Party on a Sunday.
From 10 a.m. to noon, it's time for the iconic Faika podcast with your hosts,
Listening to
Nackie and Carl.
What's up, Nackie?
What's up, fool?
New year, new studio, new season.
New everything.
Same old us.
Same old, unfortunately.
Here we are, season 5, episode 1, first episode of 2021. Ushering in the new year. I'm your host, Carl. With me, your lovely host, Nackie. Good morning, Nackie.
Good morning. Tayo Manuia.
Tayo Manuia. What do we have today? We've got the taboo topic.
With the Eleni Longi.
Eleni Longi. We're going to talk about that a lot. We're going to talk about COVID-19 data, the latest, the end of the year data that just came out from the COVID-19 task force.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that video from Harvey, Illinois, of the police officers arresting a man, and he's cuffed and somebody takes a pop at him. We're going to talk about stimulus for the U.S., the checks. Are we getting $1,200? Are we getting $600? Are we getting anything?
Are we getting anything?
And that's our show today. Nackie, what's up?
Good morning. Quick good morning to people that are checking us out on Facebook Live. I have Evelyn Fooley, who's my mama.
Good morning,
Happy
Auntie.
New Year's. Lee Rowena, good morning. Yvette Manamea, Arvet Taya Manuia. Mel is checking in from Las Vegas, Nevada. Charlotte Tupuola Teo. Pep Malipai. Good morning, Pep. Mo is on. Good. Everybody's on. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Go ahead and share the podcast. We'll be talking about COVID-19, like Carl said, taboo topics. And you know we're going to go off with the topics.
We were revving the engines up pre-show.
We were revving the engines up. So, what happened this week? Happy New Year to everyone. We started a new year. New Year's Eve, home with my babies. Midnight, we were all up. Everybody came into my room. We called my older kids Happy New Year and then knocked out. So that was it for me. That was the extent of my New Year party.
At least you made it to midnight.
I made it to midnight. Well, I had to take a nap and then woke up and hello. So
That's a vampire house, though. You all are used to working on no sleep.
I know. Lisi Bird. Masalo Salo, good morning. Sia Mangel, good morning.
Good morning,
Mangel
Sia.
family. Valerie Enna, thank you for tuning in. Happy New Year, everyone. I know you're getting ready to get to church, so we appreciate you tuning in this morning. Not much we're concentrating on doing great stuff, new stuff for 2021. Our Mena is in the building, who is our producer, director, our everything. So we're grateful to have our Mena every chance we get. Malo!
Good morning, Malo.
Manawia, let's have song of fo. Malo, we love Malo. Utopia PDX. Go follow them. They're doing great work out there in Oregon. So my house has been on lockdown. COVID is running crazy in the world. So we are not playing in my house. Like, this is my first time out of my house since last Sunday, I think. And so once a week I leave the house to come here, and that's it. There's not too much, like, the numbers are so crazy and so scary. And I know so many people and so many families that have COVID now that it's like, you really don't want to play anymore with COVID, right? Like,
You know what's crazy is I saw Julio Mual from Sacramento, the founder of Utopia Sacramento. I saw him post, and it was heartfelt. I mean, he said, hey, my brother and sister passed away. Yet I see videos that people are posting of them getting together for Christmas.
right.
And essentially calling out, people that are still refusing to
Mask up,
socially
yep.
distance and not gather. And I thought it was, I hadn't heard it put that way.
Right.
In that, I'm trying to do my best. I've had family members pass away, and I'm still seeing people gathering for, whatever the event may be.
Whatever,
we just went
it's
through
crazy.
Christmas and New Year's, right? So it's those. But then next week it's going to be something else. It's going to be a birthday party.
Right.
And then the next week it's going to be, who knows?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we can celebrate this all together. We can celebrate this all after the pandemic is done and we're all clear. We can celebrate years and years and years, like not just this one whatever family function you went to and then you get your family member sick or you're sick. Like, we need to stay home, be safe, wear your mask. I can't even tell you that little thing of wearing your mask could save you, and it can save other people that you're around. So it's crazy to me.
I'd like to think that were I 19, 20, 21, were I that age and healthy, that I would still be safe. You know what I mean? Because it's not as much of a threat to young people, right?
Right.
I would like to think that I would still be respectful and
Right.
safe,
Right.
but I'm not in that situation.
Right.
The situation that I'm in is I have a compromised immune system.
Right.
So I'm the same as you. Like, I go for walks during the day, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I come here, we do the show. And that's about it. Like, if I go to the grocery
Yes.
store, that's that's a
Yes.
weird situation for me. That's
Right.
not normal. But I think it's because my perspective of it is from my own sense of I am immune compromised, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I'm going to be overly careful. I would
Right.
hope that, like, my kids,
Right.
they're overly, careful around me. My daughter was home for Christmas. Malia was home, and she was, she had got tested. She gets tested twice a week at college. She came home. She was around me. We hung out. She didn't expose herself. And then she went to a New Year's Eve party. And when she came back to pick up her stuff to leave, she stayed in the driveway and picked up, we had put the stuff in the garage. We didn't hug. She was only there for a few minutes. But it's that respect for people that aren't young and healthy
Right.
and all those kind of things. I would hope I'm that way, the way
Right.
your kids are, the way that I see my kids be,
Right.
I see other kids are. But, that's the saying, we can only get through this together.
Yeah.
And that's why we can't get through this if
I
there
know.
are people out there running around having gatherings. And then when you look at the data that we're going to show later, it shows that we're not doing everything we can.
Yes. Calvin was nice enough to email out the latest data for Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders and how the numbers continue to grow every week. And I'm in shock that it's still rising and that we are the highest ethnic group, that our numbers are the highest. And it's because we gather,
To me, it didn't change. We've been the highest.
Yeah,
We're the
that's true.
highest. And
That's
the new
true.
report came out, and we're
Yeah,
the highest.
we're still the highest.
The overall numbers have grown.
Right.
But the bar graphs, it's just still, I looked, and I didn't even have to check to see, what color are PIs. I was
Right.
like, oh, we're blue. Like, I can
Right.
tell we're the blue because it's the top line in every
Right.
state.
I mean, and I get people have their own opinion about masking up and their rights or whatever, but just to be a civil human being, you're like, a lot of people don't want to wear masks because it's their right and blah, 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 blah. And I get that. I totally get it. But there's a fucking pandemic going on right now. And so the rules have changed because we're in a state of emergency. And so if you don't even care about all of us out here, but if you love your family, wear a mask.
Right.
Wear a mask so you don't bring something home to your family, or you're not spreading anything that you have. Just be respectful of your own family.
Was it Dr. Fuima Ono in the was Koviki talk, or was it a town hall?
It was I think it was a town hall.
I think it was a town hall.
Yeah.
He said, "Love your neighbor looks like wearing a mask."
Exactly.
That's how you love your neighbor.
Exactly. Especially if you follow the Bible like you claim to. Love thy neighbor by wearing a mask. How about that? There you go.
And it was funny. We had a doctor, and we had
A
Faifiao,
pastor.
and it was the doctor that
Yes.
brought up the Bible the biblical connection.
Exactly. So just please, for the sake of all humankind and Pacific Islanders especially, please wear your mask. Good morning, Sean Gordon.
Good morning, Sean.
Mo's Hut in the house.
Way out there.
Yeah, we had Sean on when he was visiting California. He's an entrepreneur. He's, a community leader, big time in San Francisco. And so we're grateful to have him on this morning, checking in. Thank you, Sean. Is checking in on Facebook Live. Larry Duenas, brother Larry. Gail Fomai, thank you for tuning in. We're just talking about COVID and how high the numbers are for Pacific Islanders.
The company I work with is very serious about COVID. So we have these conference calls when an employee tests positive to go over everything that we need to do for that associate. And in one of the calls yesterday, there was my business partner was on, and they were talking about the Texas area. And in the particular area, my business partner was on the call, and he goes, "You would not believe that area of the state. When you go there," he stayed at a hotel. He goes, he stayed at a Courtyard. He goes, "Nobody wearing masks, serving food. You go to restaurants, and it's like COVID's not happening."
In Texas?
In Texas.
Where the numbers are high?
This particular area. And then there was another, there was a different division that was on, and he said the same thing. He goes, "Yeah, you cross over," and it was like if you go east of the 35 or something like that. But they were talking about a geographical area in Texas, and everybody was like, "Yeah, you can tell, like, it is not even a thing over there. Like, people aren't wearing masks, and they're serving food like normal. People sitting next to each other. It's like a political thing. It's like people think
it's not political.
Coronavirus is only going to affect Democrats. like the virus can tell whether you voted blue or whether you voted red.
Yeah, it's not a political thing. Coronavirus doesn't choose Republicans over Democrats or Democrats over Republicans. I mean, it's not biased. It's not prejudice. It gets everyone and anyone. So, and my main concern is that our numbers are so high for Pacific Islanders, and we need to be careful. We all live in generational homes. Some people have their grandmother, their mother, their aunts. They're all in one home. Pacific Islanders, that's what we do. We share homes. So if you go out to work and you don't wear a mask, or you don't wash your hands, or you don't hand sanitize, and you come home and give it to your 70-year-old grandmother who's not able to fight the disease, you could possibly be killing your family members.
It's happened. I'm sure it's happened.
Oh, it's happened
Absolutely,
over and over and over. Arriva, good morning. Arriva, Talia Woodward, thank you for tuning in.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, so I know it's everyone's own. It's your choice whether or not you wear a mask. But I'm a person with a compromised immune system. So I respect you enough to, even if I don't know you, wear a mask. I expect you to do the same, just because it's common decency. Sean Gordon, who's in Missouri, the Midwest thinks it's fake, that their rights are being taken from them. It's about control, and yet the numbers continue to climb. Exactly, brother. Exactly. It's not fake. I don't believe that. When they think it's not fake, the minute they have a family member that dies from COVID-19.
Remember in the spring when the whispers going around the Pacific Islander community was, "Do you know anybody that?"
Yes.
I don't know anybody. And so early on, we heard those.
Yeah.
We heard people saying, "Well, I don't know anybody." Like, I see these PI stats and it says we're high. I don't know anybody that's gotten it.
Right.
And there was this disbelief in the PI community that is this data real? And then it was, yes, it's real. And it seemed like there was a heightened focus on like July. When you think of July of last year, it was like, you didn't even see people out on the roads.
Right.
Like when I was taking my walks,
early on,
everybody masked. People would literally cross the street to not walk near each other. Like it was like heightened awareness. The numbers are worse now than they were then.
Exactly.
And there's still a sense of like, let's relax and move on.
Right. So it's crazy that people don't wear masks, and it's crazy that you don't take effect until someone dies in your family member, or in your family. So Tony Fiso is my cousin checking in from the state of Washington.
Morning, Fiso family.
With my cousin Mulu. Good morning, guys. Have a good day. So yeah, we're just asking you to, at the very least, mask up.
Distance. That's
And
the biggest
social
thing.
distancing.
The biggest thing we control is distancing, social distancing.
Right.
And if you're in a multi-generational home, you can't distance to a certain
You
degree.
cannot,
Then don't
yes.
put yourself at more risk and go to events or other gatherings.
Right.
If you've already got it in the home, they got grands in the home, you got
Right.
grandkids in the home, greats. Like, if that's the case, then you should be even more careful.
More careful
everywhere else.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. So the numbers are skyrocketing. We're going to post up the data that we got from Calvin, who is on the National Pacific Islander COVID-19 response team. It's so bad. We had create a COVID response team geared just for Pacific Islanders. So that alone is crazy that we even have that, and that's led by Dr. Reno Samoa, Dr. Nia, Joseph, in Utah, but even Malo from PDX. So it's everywhere in the United States.
For people that don't know, Nackie's referring to the National PI COVID Response Team, the PI COVID Task Force.
Yes, that's it.
And there's different regional groups all across the nation, and there were already regional groups out there. But
Right.
we got the regional groups to consolidate so that there's one effort, there's one message.
Right.
And there was a ton of logistics going on. There was a ton of organization, and to make sure messages were correct, the data, disaggregating the data, like all of those
Yes.
kind of things. This task force, and that was one of the things of 2020 that I was really proud of, and I look at as a positive, was how quickly the Pacific Islander community found its leaders and moved to help its own
Exactly.
people.
I love that. If we don't do it, who's going to do it, right? We got to do it for our own self. The other, I don't know, they just don't see us. That's the problem. They don't
We
see
got
us.
to take care of ourselves first.
That's why we asked for the numbers to be disaggregated. And California has been doing a good job with disaggregating the numbers. So it's crazy. And I don't know how I can stress it enough for people just to protect themselves and their family, the family around them. I want to shout out some people still tuning in on Facebook. Lisa Atofao, good morning.
Morning, Lisa.
Daniel Tanielu, good morning. Emani, happy birthday.
Emani?
Happy New Year, Emani. Yeah.
Emani.
Happy New Year.
That's one thing. Imani's in Nanakuli, Hawaii, on Oahu, and that's when I saw a video from one of our friends that was in Hawaii for New Year's, and the fireworks on New Year's Eve.
Oh my God, that was all
you
over
have to
Facebook.
be in Oahu.
Right.
You have to have been there on a New Year's Eve to understand it, because the video doesn't do it justice.
It's
like
crazy
as crazy
beautiful,
as the video
though,
looks,
yeah.
that entire island is just everywhere is buck wild with
Yes.
fireworks on New Year's Eve.
They did a beautiful job. I know. Every year, but this year I seen it all over Facebook because of course you can't go to these firework things supposedly, but Hawaii was like lit up and it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Cecilia Mangel, Scanlon Reed, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. Candy To'oteros. Okay, I'm sorry, Candy. I know that I know the To'o family. So yes, thank you for tuning in. But yeah, COVID-19 in the Pacific Islander. Tadao Salima is talking about, thank you for talking about it. But I don't think a lot of PIs know how severe it is for Pacific Islanders. Now, I know in the Bay Area that it's like every week I hear of someone that I know or know of that has passed away from COVID-19, and family members that are in the hospital we pray for. The reason why we don't want you to get sick enough to go to the hospital is because when you go to the hospital and they admit you into the emergency, your family member has to go by themselves. You cannot go. If it's your 90-year-old grandmother who doesn't speak English, you can't go with her. You cannot go with her. You can't hold her hand. You can't answer the questions that the doctor is talking. your 90-year-old grandmother or aunt or whatever, she has to go into that hospital by herself because of COVID-19. They're not letting anybody other than the patient in.
Yeah, I've heard that there's groups, and I don't know if they're the regional groups, but there are groups that are actually like finding out where all the PIs, what hospitals the PIs work at, and they're telling them when, because we know, like, it's that much care that they're actually preemptive and go and finding out, like, okay, at Mercy General, here are the Pacific Islanders that work there, so that the community can know, here's a Pacific Islander. You may not know them. You might know them. But if you don't, they still understand, like, this is an elder. This is a family member. They're used to having somebody there. They wake up in the middle of the night. They're thirsty. They kick the chair of the person that's sleeping there, because there is somebody sleeping there. Or they need the nurse. Anything, but you can't happen. You can't do it.
We're Pacific Islanders. So if our aunt or our mom or our brother or our sister goes into the hospital, somebody spends the night with them in the hospital to check them every hour because the nurses are busy. They have so many patients, but we usually send our family member to get water.
Somebody's
go
there
get
overnight.
go get the nurse. I need this and this and that. And especially with PIs, and the reason why our numbers are high is because we're all at risk. Where, if your immune system is compromised by diabetes, high blood pressure, obese, if we're all overweight. Hello, Lord. But it's a major reason why Pacific Islanders have COVID-19, and the numbers are high is because of our health issues.
Does it piss you off when you hear? Maybe it's because I'm on the internet too much. But I'll see stats, or they'll say, this person passed away from COVID. And then I'll read comments are like, well, were they overweight, or did they have diabetes, or do they have comorbidities? And it's like, well, does that matter? Like, I don't get like you're saying, it's blaming it on the people, like, oh, well, you had diabetes, and you died, so you had, like, that matters. 73% of Americans are overweight or obese. That's 3/4 of the population. So you're saying 3/4 of the population you don't care because they're, that's regular. Like, most people are overweight.
Yeah, most people are overweight because the cheap meals are $1. Hello.
Right. How many calories can you buy for $5? Cheap food.
Yeah.
Cheap food that's horrible for you. You can buy thousands of calories for $5.
Yeah, that's so true. So, yeah, COVID-19 is running rampant in the PI community. Suliana Hopoi. Tuffy. Good morning, Tuffy. Sao Tau.
Good morning, Tuffy.
So thank you for tuning in this morning. We're talking about COVID-19, and I know you're sick of it, but we're going to continue to talk about it until we really buckle down and do what, we're supposed to do to get better. Like, and I know this is not a comparison, but New Zealand got rid of COVID by locking down everyone. The Prime Minister, big shout out to her, who did a good job of preventing COVID and keeping it clear, because it took them 3 months, 4 months, maybe.
I don't know
6
exactly
months tops,
how long it took for them. And, the naysayers would say, well, it's an island and there's only so many. It is. And it is easier to control on island than it is geographically with the United States. But the fact is, they did what they had to.
Yes.
Whatever they had to do, they did it. And we just haven't done that.
Yeah. We haven't done it because we don't listen. We've got rights and we've got I get it, but it's a pandemic. We have to do whatever we have to do to get rid of this pandemic. We won't do that because we freaking got rights, but it is what it is.
It was mind-boggling to be on that conference call yesterday and hear somebody talk about full counties, entire counties that are just going on like life is normal.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Manu Malo said, healthier food and security is valid. It costs less to purchase processed food than healthier options. True. That's what we were saying.
You
it's
think
cheaper.
about, I remember watching, it was The Biggest Loser. And the guy Bob, the trainer, they were in a grocery store in the Biggest Loser. They go on field trips, so they're in a grocery store, and one of the guys is like, "Yeah, but it's just cheaper." And he goes, "Well, what's cheaper?" And he goes, "I can buy a large pizza from, I think it was Little Caesars." He goes, for $5. and I get like 2 meals for $5.
And feed your family.
And Bob Harper, I think, I'm not, but Bob literally looks at him, and I'm thinking, oh, how are you going to? And he goes, I can't defend that. He goes,
you
$5 for an extra, for a large pizza, the calories that you get out of it. He goes, I just can't defend that. Like, you would have to make the decision to spend more money to eat better food.
That's true.
And it was just a sense of honesty that the person was actually going to say, yeah, there's no defense for that. I mean, the defense would be, we'll buy a whole bunch of carrots and buy a whole bunch of it. But then it's like the time and, you could do it, but it's certainly not convenient. It's not easy. And especially when you're just looking for, where's my next meal coming from? You may not have a big kitchen to chop up the carrots and prepare all the food or do all those kind of things.
Right. Pastor Lucky Siaki is on. Happy New Year, Pastor. We love Pastor Lucky. Me and Mena were just talking about him and his whole family this weekend. I don't know what we were talking about, Pastor Lucky, but
probably that it's about time to have him back on our show.
It is time to have you back on. It's a new year, so we'd like to talk about your word for the day, your scripture for the day that you do every beginning of the year. But I grew up with Pastor Lucky at Follows Church, and so I was talking to Mena about how I used to hang out with his sisters, and we went into this whole spiel, and I think we talked for about an hour talking about growing up with Pastor Lucky and at his house and his mom. So it was a good conversation. Good times.
Extremely engaging minister.
Yes.
Like, I love listening. You go for a ride when pastor is talking to you. He takes you on a ride.
Yeah, and if you're looking for online church, Win the City Las Vegas. He goes on at 11 o'clock. So go follow Win the City Las Vegas at 11 o'clock. We love Pastor Lucky. He's very relatable. He's funny, very funny. So go. Leah Fapis. Oh, Leah Bisa is on. Thompson, my brother Eddie Thompson, his daughter who just came. Well, she just had a baby who's almost going to be a year. She's so cute, and I use her as my memes sometimes. So a lot, and I would use her picture every day because she's so cute. But I don't want people to get mad that I'm not switching it up. But they have the cutest little daughter. So yeah. That's what has been driving me nuts is COVID-19. And I'm still we got diagnosed. Our whole family had COVID in November after Thanksgiving, and Mo is already back at work, thank God, and he's doing better. But I'm still trying to get back to my full strength. I'm not even, I don't know, I'd say I'm 70% there, as you can tell by my pale face.
Yeah, you're normally too much. From just right now, you're a lot. You're only a lot right now.
Yeah, right.
Soon you'll be back to being too much.
Right. Whatever. So yeah, COVID-19. PJ is on, checking in on Facebook. We love PJ. Lots and lots of I don't know, just lots and lots of people getting sick with COVID, and we just want you to protect you and your family and to be safe so that we can hang out later. Well, this year. Men, are you going to put the numbers up?
2021 is going to be different. And this is going to be our last piece on COVID-19, and we're going to move on. It's our first show of the year, and we're not stuck on COVID-19, but we do need to talk about it.
We need to talk about it because the numbers are high, and Pacific Islanders are just going crazy with not following these suggested guidelines for COVID-19. So, total NHPI cases reported as of December 23rd, 2020 is 32,620, right? Cases include data reported from 20 states, Guam, Washington, D.C., and then the total deaths reported as of December 23rd, 386. And so I think that's on one of the flyers, Mena. And then this week, the number went up. So last week was 32,620. This week we're at 35,369. The deaths for last week was 386. As of December 30th, it's 409 Pacific Islanders who have died from COVID-19. That's huge. That's crazy
and
huge.
those are the other thing with the stats. People say, well, he was going to die. He or she was going to die. And they had other comorbidities. It's like if you have, I don't know, diabetes, and a bus hits you, and you die. You died from the bus.
Right.
Like you had diabetes, but you didn't die from, you got killed by the bus. So the stats, those are some of the things the deniers call out is that, well, they had other things too. And it's just not, it's not a logical way of looking at it, not a rational way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's crazy. The numbers are skyrocketing and we still are not paying attention to them. So let's do better this year. Let's do better this year. Let's be cautious, be aware of our surroundings, wash your hands more, use hand sanitizer, wear your mask all the time you leave the house. I love Urbanesian, who I follow on Instagram. She has this art piece of 3 Pacific Islander women, and they have masks on, and the caption is "Wear your mask when you ga." So I use that all the time. I love Urbanesian. So Tadao says, "Eat to live, don't live to eat." Exactly. I know I need to follow that rule, but I'm such a foodie. So yeah, is there another one, Mana? Oh, okay. And so let's see what the other one says. The Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander COVID-19 Data Policy Lab. Cases per 100,000 by race and ethnicity over time as of December 30th, 2020. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. Cases per 100,000. If you just look at the data that we posted, it's freaking irritating to me that we're not paying attention. We're not listening. We've got to.
And we don't even need to really. We don't need to break those down. All you got to do is look at the top line. That's us. The top line in every one of those graphs is the Pacific Islander community.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. That's it. That's all you need to know. You don't have to read anything. Just know that the top line. That's freaking. And it's like we're a race, right? Like we're winning this stupid death race.
And you can see like there's bigger gaps in like Arkansas. There's a bigger gap at the top line versus the other ones, and other ones they're closer, but the top line is us in each of those.
Yes. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. The top line is all us. Thank you, Mena, for putting it up there. It's mind blowing. Italia Woodward says she still hasn't seen her grandbaby born during the pandemic in May. She knows that there are tests to take prior to flying to Hawaii, but her fear is not everyone does, and I don't know what else I'd be walking off that plane with besides my luggage. Yeah, that's another thing, right?
Well, there's a good example of like you can't spend time now, but why risk? Exactly. Why risk that when in a year, you know what I mean? You're going to be able to do things safely. Like maybe you do that. You do the risky behavior, and you're perfectly fine. But that's a maybe. Like I'd rather not have a maybe and wait 9 months, and be more sure of it. Be safer.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I just feel for her. I don't have any grandbabies myself, but I am looking forward to, and I would do the same thing. I probably would not go to Hawaii just because I don't know what everybody else is doing. I only can speak for myself, right? So that's all I got. Are we going to go to break? Maybe go to break. Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk about that Harvey police arrest, and then we're going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about the taboo topic of rape.
What song are we playing, Minna? We're going to play a song. It's a surprise. We're going to surprise you with this song, and
surprise ourselves as well.
We're going to surprise ourselves, and as soon as that happens, we are on break this week for Koviki Talk. So we'll be playing a replay of Koviki Talk. And then Tuesday, we're going to do Faika at 5 p.m. right here. And then, Wednesday, Island City Media Group. Download Dash App Radio. You're listening to the FICA podcast. We will be right back.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Once bitten and twice shy, I keep my distance and you still catch my eye. Tell me, baby, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a year, doesn't surprise me. Merry Christmas. I wrapped it up and sent it with a note saying I loved you, I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been, but if you kissed me now, I might be fooled again. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. A crowded room with friends with tired eyes. I'm hiding from you, and you're so advice. Someone to rely on me. I guess I was a shoulder to cry on. Face of a lover with the fire in his heart. A man undercover, but you tore me apart. And now I found a real love. You never fool me again. Sometimes you really gotta go through something just to know not to do that again. Tomorrow's never promised, so enjoy this holiday season with the people you love. Yeah, Merry Christmas.
We should talk about.
And we're back. You're listening to the FICA broadcast. I'm Nackie. With me and always in the studio together is Carl.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. That was Reno on Hawaii, produced by Opportunity. And that was Last Christmas. Again, that's Reno on Hawaii, Bay Area kid, good kid. He go download all his music on social media, Spotify, iTunes, everything wonderful in the air. How about that? Go ahead.
Want to talk about our taboo topic that was blowing up the Pacific Islander social media community?
Yeah. So if you haven't been on social media, and you haven't seen this young lady, Eleni Longi, Tongan young lady who went live on Instagram and talked about being raped. Her and her sister were raped. Were raped. And she just talked about taboo topics, and what first she was discussing about her very first video. She was talking about taboo topics and mental health and how you should get help if you're having any kind of issues, and that Pacific Islanders don't really talk about rape or incest or anything taboo. We don't even have this discussion. And so she went on and talked about it. She got a lot of views. And then she went on again and talked about that she was raped. Her sister was gang raped. And then she talked about what happened. And then I think a third video went out where she named the actual, what do you call them? Rapists. She named the rapists. And the video that it just went viral. It went crazy viral. I think she named like 3 guys that had raped her sister and her. And then she talked about a guy who was there and didn't do anything. And the reason why she named the guy that was there and didn't do anything, because he's just as guilty as actually doing the crime. And so it's on Instagram. You need to go watch it. I mean, she's getting so much positive, I don't know, people that are coming. After she named the guys, people with girls came out and said, yes, it's happened to them with these same people. Not all of them together, but, one or the other. And so, I mean, that has been going crazy on Instagram, of where I think they called the video Say Their Name or something like that, Say Their Name. And people have been reposting. And I think I seen somewhere where one of the guys said, it wasn't true. And then, I mean, of course, I don't know if they're gonna, I don't know.
The guys?
Yeah, one of the guys said it wasn't true, and then he deleted his comment. And like, she has a lot of people supporting her. And then there's a lot of people that are, well, why are you talking now? Why?
I think the first thing is good. That's the example of when one person speaks up, other people are empowered.
Right.
So if people that have been, that have gone through that, there are others that are going to come forward after, but they're looking for the first person to take the first step. So to see the fallout where other people are coming forward and saying, yes, we went through the same situation. These guys raped me too. That's an example of how powerful it is to share your story. The victim blaming is really, it's another form. It's like being violated all over again.
Yes.
Where you think you're going to come forward and something terrible's happened to you, and you think, well, everybody's going to support me. And you become brave enough to go ahead and step forward and speak. And then when the victim blaming starts, it's almost like it's like being violated again. I mean, that's the only way that I can put it is that there's people that just don't get that. Like if somebody comes to you and asks you for help because they were whatever, they were beat up, they were molested, they were raped. That's a short window of being able to show them, hey, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do the right thing. I think that in our community, a lot of times the conversation goes, well, look, we're just not going to say anything because it's going to bring shame to our family, or it's going to bring, bad press or those kind of things.
And that's totally it.
All stuff that we got to get over.
We got to get over.
We got to get past that, where we don't talk about. We don't talk about this stuff.
Right.
And that's what I had posted. Manu Fo had shared and had written on there that, look, evil thrives in darkness.
Right.
And when we don't talk about it, we enable it to live in the dark.
Exactly.
And talking about it on here, talking about it on her social media, the families know, all those kind of things. You got to do this.
Yeah.
You got to have, and
you got to do it.
If they're innocent and they're going to come forward, then come forward and share your story.
Yeah.
But we got to talk.
They totally have to talk about it.
Right.
They totally have to talk about it. That's how you're going to heal. I think it was really brave of her to go on social media and call out the people that raped them. It's hard for her. I understand it's hard for her. And then it's hard for the whole family. I think one of the main reasons girls don't step forward is because of victim blaming.
They don't think they'll be supported.
Like these girls already, people are bashing them and supporting them at the same time. But that's the main reason why girls don't step up and talk about being raped by people you know. It's never a stranger. It's someone you know, or is in your circle, or is your friend's circle. Like, it's always someone you know. And it's sad that this is happening still in our community. Like, we need to talk about it so that it'll stop. Like, people, rapists or that do this, and then when a girl doesn't say anything about it, and not that, and everybody has a reason why they don't talk about it, but when you talk about it, you bring, a light to this person that has raped you, and then it'll set an example for guys not to do this, because I think, oh, if I do that again, someone will tell on me, or and with PIs, we don't want to shame our family. We don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. Like, there's already tons of damage done.
It's being done right now.
Tons of damage done
as we speak.
So I'm glad that they were brave enough. And then she had her sister come on, and they both spoke about it, but they were so brave and so strong. And I didn't see a video where they were crying. They were like screaming and yelling because they're angry.
Right.
They're angry that they let it go on this long without saying anything. And I think their mental health just couldn't take it anymore. And they had to talk about it. So I think that it's families, and we have to have these conversations with our daughters. If you're a mother, you have to have this conversation with your daughter that no matter who it is, or, it's an uncle, it's a brother, it doesn't matter who it is, you still have to talk about it.
Well, when you think about that most of the molestations take place by somebody that, a family member or a friend of the family, right? Well, in the Pacific Islander community, the dynamic of where we are helping raise our family's kids, like aunties and uncles play a bigger role in PI families than they do in non-PI families.
Exactly.
You're babysat by, a teenager that's 5 years older than you, or sometimes not even 5 years older than you. It's so much more important to have those conversations because it's more likely to happen in that kind of dynamic, because you've got your auntie and your uncle so involved in your life, and your older cousin that's like an auntie or an uncle babysits you, raises you, takes you for the weekend. Those are conversations that you got to have. Otherwise, you're just on the hope program. You're just going through life and hoping that your kids don't get hurt. And I'm not down with the hope program for my kids. I'm going to hope about things I don't control.
No.
But we had those conversations with my boys and my girl about that, so that I'm not on the hope program. Like, I'm going to do everything that I can, and I'm going to, I pray and I have hope and I have faith and those kind of things, but I also got a voice. And I've also got my kids' ears. You got to talk to them about that. And that was my question for you, was how do you think that we change this in the PI community? How can it be changed?
I think we need to stop treating girls as second-class citizens.
Say it. Speak it.
We need to. We need to stop treating girls as they are second-class citizens. That happens I know in the PI community, most of the time the male are dominant, and we treat the girls as if they're second-class citizens. And I think that's why sometimes it gives men, I don't know, they think because have the upper hand, or no one will believe the girl, that they do this because they think they have the right to. But we need to teach the men, the boys, as they're growing up, that we're all equal, that your mother is a daughter, that your mother is a sister, that your mother is an aunt, and to realize that you have to treat the women the way you would treat them as if they were your mother, not as if they were a piece of object, know. I think that's another, back in the day, I know that, I think this year or now, this generation, that they don't think like that, or try not to think like that.
There's less of it.
Less of that. It's still there, but it's less of that. I think that the men need to stop treating women like they're a piece of
an object.
An object. that we are your sisters, we are your mothers, we are your girl cousins that you love and that you claim to love. If you see this going on, like I know Eleni called out one of the boys that was there, but he didn't do anything. Call him out too.
Yeah.
He watched it go down and didn't do shit.
So there's a piece of that is I've always thought, like, what would I do if I was in that situation? Well, and I think about why haven't I been in that situation? And I think I know why. Because people, my friends and my people, my associates, even acquaintances, I think they knew that it wouldn't happen in front of me. So I never saw it. You know what I mean? So the guy that didn't do anything, one, you should have done something. But two, you got to look inside of yourself and think, why did they think it was okay to do that in front of me?
Right.
Because they don't respect you. They knew you weren't going to do anything about it.
Right.
That's why they're comfortable doing that in front of you.
That's
so
true.
that kid's got to look at, like, what's wrong with my character that my friends are comfortable to do criminal shit and hurt people in front of me? They don't respect me enough to think that I would interrupt or break that up.
Right.
Like, he's got to figure out, like, there's a criminal piece of it, but there's a bigger piece of, like, why is he a stepping stone that they didn't care that he was there?
Right. It all starts, Adele is saying, it all starts at home. We have to teach our kids to do better. Lena Manulelewa, who's on, says the same thing. We have to teach our sons, teach
Just
our sons how to respect our PI women, our PI women.
So there's two pieces of the conversation. There's the talk to the girls and explain to them what to look for, danger signs, what's acceptable, what's not, all that, how to have your boundaries. That is a conversation. And then the other piece of it is just like you said, the boys, like, they've got to be taught too.
Right.
And the whole I'm on stage all the time, one of the things that I never saw, not once, ever growing up, was my father hit my mother. Like, I just never saw it.
Yeah.
And fast forward to me in my adult life, like, it's alien that I would ever raise my hand to a woman because I didn't see it. So that piece of it, adults, men especially, but violence does happen from women to men. It's far less than men to women. Men have to understand that, look, you're going to imprint that on your kids. Your son's going to think it's okay to hit a woman if he sees you hitting
his mother. Exactly.
Right. So it's all levels, all generations and genders got to buy into this to change it.
Right. It's crazy to me that this happens, and it happens a lot, and nobody speaks about it. We all hear the stories, and nobody does anything. Nobody confronts the rapist. Nobody comforts the victim, because we don't want to embarrass the family. That has to go away. The shame is you not saying anything.
Right.
The shame is you not reaching out.
What's more embarrassing to the family? What's more embarrassing to the family? Your daughter coming forward and saying, I was raped, and Uncle whatever we got to deal with it.
Uncle Bully.
And deal with that. Is that more embarrassing, or is it more embarrassing for your daughter to grow up with depression and not be as good a mother as they could be, and not be as good a wife as they could be, and and have all that baggage of not working through that? What's more embarrassing? It's more embarrassing to have your kid grow up broken than it is for you to deal with
and help them.
Uncle Bully.
Right. I think the minute the person is victimized or raped, you stunt that person's growth.
If you're 14 when it happened, you're 14 forever until you deal with the emotions.
Yes. You're physically, you'll grow, but mentally that person has been just fucked up for the rest of their life. And I don't know what we can do other than talk about it.
Talk is a first step.
And I've had this conversation with my girls, being a victim of child molestation. I talked to my girls about it. And so when I didn't even know about the video. Mena came in and showed me the video and said, Mama, look at this girl. She's talking about being raped, and she's named her I don't know, named the persons that raped the rapist. And the first thing Mena said was, we need to get her help. You know, she needs help. And when you watch the video, she looks strong and everything, but that's a cover up. She still needs
the top. That's the
top
outer shell.
Right. She needs help, her and her sister. But that family needs help. And I don't know. It's just crazy to me that this day and age that we're still doing this to one another. Pacific Islanders doing it to Pacific Islanders, and then walk around and talk about how proud we are to be PIs. We are very proud people.
But part of being proud is being able to address and face into uncomfortable issues. Like, people got to get ready to be uncomfortable. You got, if you're going to fix something, especially emotional, like, you've got to understand it's going to be uncomfortable. We're going to talk about topics that make you kind of squirm in your seat, and it's uncomfortable to talk about, but that's how feelings get worked through.
Right.
If they don't get, and that's the buried feelings never die.
Buried feelings never die.
And if you get molested at 12 years old and you bury those feelings, those are going to manifest themselves in alcoholism, drug abuse.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of different unhealthy ways that it'll manifest itself.
Drugs.
Until you deal with it.
Right.
The way you deal with your family, your kids, your relationships.
Right.
Those are all going to suffer until the person goes through being uncomfortable and putting it on the table, and the family is told, like, this is how I feel, and I felt abandoned. And those are kind of things that doesn't mean, like, I'm never going to talk to you forever.
Right.
But you got to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. And we have to empower these women that get raped, youngsters that get raped. Give them the strength to talk about it. Like, our homes have to be a safe haven. They have to be a safe haven. We can't, your daughter can't come to you and tell you, and you want to sweep it under the rug. You're not doing her any justice. And Carl has said this before, you victimize them twice.
Right.
Once from being raped, and then from covering up and not wanting to help them.
Well, most likely the person that raped you, you trust, right? Because it's an uncle, it's an aunt, it's an older cousin, it's whoever. So you trust that person, and they abuse that trust. They break that trust.
Right.
And then if you're going to go tell it to your parent, or you're going to tell it to, whoever else, and you're finally going to come forward and say, okay, I need to talk to somebody about this, and they don't do anything about it, or they tell you to hide it, you're being abused again by somebody that you trust. So that's 2 times very traumatic, that you trusted somebody, they abused your trust. Okay, I got to go tell somebody about it.
Right.
I tell somebody I trust, they abuse your trust again. Why would you come forward another time?
Why would you come forward at all?
Right. I mean, you're like, well, somebody I trusted abused me, and then I went to somebody to tell them about it that I trusted.
Yeah.
They abused me again by telling me to just don't worry about it, man up, or, like, be a woman or whatever. Like, to go seek counseling after that part would be difficult. Like, it would be extra difficult because you've already ran into a dead end with somebody you love, your mother, your father. Your best friend, or whoever it is. It's less likely, I think, the best friend. It's probably better to open up to somebody who's doesn't have to be, we're going to take action today, but it's somebody who's going to listen and say, wow, that's terrible that you went through that.
Right.
Not listen to it and go, yeah, you better not tell anybody.
Yeah, I just think we need to make it make it comfortable for our girls to come forward, and our boys. Boys have been getting raped too without saying anything. Boys have been getting raped. It's just, we need to make it safe in our home, like 100%. Sweeping it under the rug is not doing anybody any justice. It's hurting. It's hurting. If a daughter goes to a mother and she says, let's just sweep it under the rug, it'll be okay, she don't trust you anymore.
Right.
100%. If your daughter has come to you and told you that they've been raped and you didn't do shit, she doesn't trust you anymore. She does not trust you anymore. So that is 100. I'm tell you 100%. She does not trust you. She probably loves you a little less. I'm guaranteeing you that. So if you love your children, and you want to 100% protect them, please talk to them. If You want to go to the police, go to the police. If you don't want to go to the police, the very least get your child or the victim some help.
Right.
Get them some help. That's all. If you don't want to go to the police because it's a family member or whatever, which is crazy to me, at least get the victim some help. Get the victim some help so they can be stronger and grow.
Either way, they're going to need counseling. So if there's not conviction, like there's not like, there's no evidence and it's a he said, she said, and there's nothing the justice system is going to do for that person, they still need to talk that through.
Yeah.
Like they're going to need to talk that through, whether they go to jail for 50 years or whether they never see a day in jail. The victim's still going to need someone to talk to, to walk through it and get okay with what's happened. And understand that they still deserve to be happy, even though what's happened. And how do they do that? But that has to happen. I mean, that's got to happen whether the rapist goes to jail or they deal with it or however.
Right.
They got to talk to somebody.
They got to talk to somebody. That's the only, like, when I first spoke of it happening to me, that was the most freeing. Like, I held it in for so long. I just talking to Nani and the other women, it was so freeing, and it was like such a relief,
right?
Because after I spoke about it, then I found out I wasn't alone, that this happens more so than we like to discuss, more than we ever talk about. Like, nobody ever talks about their family members getting molested. Nobody talks about it.
Right.
It's not a topic. And because we just want to ignore it, and we want it to go away. We want you to shut up and not talk about it.
And that's evil thrives in darkness. That's
exactly.
Darkness. When we don't talk about it, we're letting that person, the rapist, the molester, we're letting them live in darkness and nobody sees them. It's like we got to take the light, shine it right on them and say, look, dude, we see you. We know what happened.
Right.
And let everybody else know. Here's what this person did. And then less families allow their kids
Sorry.
the molester.
Gosh darn it.
To be alone with the person. Families know, I got to be careful. I don't want to, because you've seen that happen, right? You've seen that happen where you hear something about somebody and you're like, oh, my kid, I'm not ever sending my kids over there. Why? Because somebody spoke. Somebody said, like, that stove is hot. Don't touch that stove.
I have to admit, I do that too. I did that too, a long time ago, many years ago. Like, I heard the stories coming out of that house, and I was like, no, my kids ain't going
never
over
going
there.
there.
Never going over there.
Because somebody's put the light on somebody, and you were like, oh, okay, that house is off limits. That person's off limits.
That's true. That is true.
And it could have saved that, just hearing that information could have saved your kids from being exposed to a dangerous situation, because you knew, like, there's other people who can watch, but not that one, not that house.
Yeah. Nobody talks about it. And I'd have to admit that before I started talking about it, I heard the stories. I knew who, what, where, when, and I didn't do anything.
And for the people that, you haven't been molested, you haven't seen it, you don't have a kid that went through it, it's uncomfortable. You got to get good with being uncomfortable. This is a conversation that's got to be had. Yeah.
But now that I'm outspoken about it, and people come and tell me their story, I don't drag them to the police station. I try to get them help and make sure that they continue to talk about it so that it doesn't eat at their soul. And people have committed suicide from this and have gone, on drugs because they can't handle the situation. You need to talk about it. So when people come to me, I lead them to, someone that can help them, or if they don't want to do anything, they just want to talk, venting, let them talk. Talking is such... it sounds like the most smallest thing to do, but talking about it just something it does to your soul, just to let it out.
It starts the healing process.
Yes.
That's really when you tell me about speaking at J2E, it speaks to me that's when the healing process could begin, because you're like, no, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the words.
Yeah. And Lena was saying, trust your kids when they come to you.
Right.
When your kids come to you and tell you a story, ain't no way a little kid can make up this kind of a story.
Right.
It's not in, unless you're teaching them or watching, you know what I mean? Ain't no way a little kid is going to come to you and make up this story.
Right.
It's your kid. Trust your kid. If they're telling it, it's true. It's true. Everything that your kid says, if they're accusing someone of this heinous, fucked up crime, it's true.
It's even to the point where Nicole and I had conversations about, and we agreed, you know, she said, look, and this is when the kids were little. She said, you know, how are you going to feel if one of the kids say something that they were uncomfortable with you? And I said, you need to look into it. Like, I'm comfortable with my conduct, that there is not anything to, so if the kids come to you, and this is when the triplets were, you know, less than a year old, we had several conversations about that. I was like, I want you to believe them.
Yeah.
Like, if they say something that they're uncomfortable about what I did or said or acted towards them, but I don't ever want them to be shut down and say, that's just your dad, or that's just your uncle, or that's just your auntie. They would never do that. If they feel uncomfortable, I've got to be comfortable for them. Like, that's got to be an open way of communicating. And so that was something that I signed up for with the kids, was like, look, if they're not comfortable with me, I want you to look into it. I want you to believe them.
Right.
And I want you to figure out, like, why aren't they comfortable?
Right.
But it's got to be that if you're going to change the way that the communication dynamic is there, talking about this kind of stuff is like, nothing should be out of bounds. Nothing's out of bounds. No person's out of bounds.
Nothing.
It's a family member.
Right.
It's a father. It's an uncle. It's a
cousin. It's a brother.
It's somebody close.
Yeah. Most of the time that I've noticed, and just from my experience and people that I've spoken to, like 100% of the people that I've spoken to, is someone that they know, as someone in their family. It's someone that their family doesn't want to embarrass that person, never mind them. You know what I mean? Like, it's so traumatic to have this happen to a little girl or a woman, anybody that says they've been raped, believe them.
Right.
Believe them. Because from that day on, they're emotionally fucked up.
Right.
That's the only way I can put it.
And dig into that. Like, you hear some kids say, yeah, uncle whatever, he plays funny.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Right.
What does he play? Like, don't just, if there's something that little tingle goes off, then pick up on it and ask some questions. The other thing is, if guys, if you got a woman, a mom, a wife, a mom, a daughter, and I don't know, a friend, one of those, the numbers say, has been molested or is being molested. Are people are the girls and the women in your life comfortable enough to come to you for help?
Right.
And that's a way that guys can look at it. Like, do I make women comfortable enough? Well, one, as a man, I don't hurt people. Right. That's the biggest one.
Right.
But two, am I the kind of person, or do I have the kind of relationships with people where they're comfortable to come to me and say, I need help, or something weird happened? So there's something that men can do, is try to be that person that people would come to and say, something weird happened, I need some help. Right.
Yeah, that's 100% true. So yeah, Eleni Longi, go follow her on Instagram. All her videos are up. She did a great job talking about it.
Right.
She's releasing all this anger and stuff that happened to her. And so I've seen women bashing her, which I just don't understand. And maybe it's them bringing, I don't know. But I just think as women, we need to support one another and not, we don't know the whole story. Actually, she's told the whole story. But it's just, this has happened to her. And we've got to take it at, face value. Her and her sister need to get help. They need to seek help or talk to, I don't know, a counselor or pastor, whoever you are comfortable with, just to get them, some relief.
And if you're listening and you're in the Salt Lake community or know somebody in the Salt Lake community, that is 100% needed for these girls.
Yeah.
They do need help. They need support.
Yeah, they need support. And I think it would be good for someone to reach out to them and just offer them some help, because they have a rough road. Like, after everyone forgets about this story,
Right.
they're still going to be struggling with what happened to them.
Those things are like funerals, right? Like everybody's there for the person. Your husband passes
Yeah.
away. Everybody's there for you. And then the funeral comes, and then everybody leaves, and the person grieving is still mourning. They're still going through everything, but the big rush of support has gone back. Everybody goes back to their lives. They go back to their jobs. They do all
Yes.
those things. But the person is still in mourning.
Right.
They still need help. And it's going to be the
Right.
same situation with, this social media flurry is going to die out.
Yes.
And after that, they're still going to need help.
They're still going to need help. Exactly. Like right now, everyone's talking about it and reposting and sharing the video. But a month or two from now, it's going to be, no one's going to be talking about it again. But they're still going to be going through what they're going through. So let's try to get them some help. People in Utah, if you know these girls, please reach out to them if you are a clinician or
you know one.
Or you know someone,
Right.
or, I don't know. I don't know what help we can get them, but if we can get someone to reach out to them, and you're sincere in this process, don't reach out if you just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Reach out to help.
Reach out
Yep.
to help. There you go. Yes, Patricia, their girls are in Utah, and that's only because it's public information on their Instagram. So, Dr. Ty Faleava is on. We should have him on.
Just buy him a ticket and send him to Utah.
We'll send him an invitation.
But he may know somebody in Utah.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure Dr. Faleava
We can
does.
send Mr. Fiti Samanu an email.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we can ask him. But yeah, so that poor family, and I'm sure now they're getting ridiculed and hopefully more support than anything. Tadao was saying women bashing women is very sad to see, especially, I get that too. And, PI women need to stick together, but that's the whole thing we need to learn how to respect the PI women in our house and everywhere. I know that because of back in the day that women were looked at as second class citizens is the reason why people think they have the right to treat PI women a certain way. So yeah, big prayers to that family, and hopefully they'll get the help that they need. That was a long-winded discussion, and
It was a good discussion.
It kind
Because
of
we need to talk about it.
Yeah. It's something that every family should talk about. I know it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable situation, but you need to. I can't see that far. We need to talk about it. So there you go.
Well, we're already over, but hey, if we're over, we're over. We're going to cut this anyway.
Yeah,
Do you want
yeah.
to talk about the that Harvey police video that we had seen earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to say something to this text, Eleni, if they're watching? And if you're watching this video or someone shows it to you, and you don't have it, I'm sure you have support, but in the case that you need someone to talk to, you can talk to me and I'll listen. I know they're venting on Instagram and social media. Sometimes it's good to have a one-on-one conversation with someone who understands what you're going through, or we can connect you to people that can help you in Utah. So that's all I wanted to get out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And that's once this flurry, and they can actually benefit from it because I think that we can find help if they want. You know what I mean? If we don't want to be imposing on them, but if they do need help, we're here.
Yes,
and we do know some people in Utah.
Yay! I'm looking forward to them getting the help that they need, and them coming to terms with everything that's happened. And so, yeah. And if you know anybody that needs help, get them the help. Okay, so we were going to talk about, I'm sorry, what blacked out. Harvey, Illinois. We were talking
there's
about
a
that?
tweet that's out there in Harvey, Illinois, where police had arrested a man. And in the video, the guy's cuffed. And you see somebody take a swipe at him, try to punch him while he's cuffed, which obviously is excessive force. And the cop arrested the other person. And I remember when I first saw it, I thought, that is amazing. Because you see that so often in these videos where a cop does something and then they pay the price after social media breaks the video out. People say, that he kicked the guy after, but nobody arrests him. Like the cops around, they don't arrest anybody. They only find out from administration when they want to punish the officer. The administration does it. The cops on scene don't ever arrest somebody for that.
Right.
In this video, they did, and then I found out that it's a security guard that did it. It's not a cop.
Right.
So I was excited for that because that's part of accountability. When other cops will actually police themselves, and they see another cop do something illegal like that, and they do something about it, that's the kind of accountability that's needed. Coming out of 2020 with like the George Floyd, all of the the issues with police brutality that have been out there, those are the kinds of accountability that I'd like to see, is policing themselves. And I thought that was there. I was like, wow, that was fast. I never thought I would see that on video. But it turned out to be a security guard. It's a start, but it's not another cop.
Yeah. Do you think, do you think he would have reacted the same if it was a cop?
I don't.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't.
what I was thinking too.
I've seen cops pull other cops off.
Yeah.
When the other
it.
cops are out of line. But they're just stopping the violence from happening. If you're pulling the other cop off, and that's violence that you're saying is wrong, then it's probably a crime.
Right.
Like, you can't just say, oh, the guy got carried away. Like, you're following the laws too. So you can't just cuff somebody and then kick the crap out of them.
Right.
And say, and they do that. There's videos of those out there where the person's cuffed and they're still beating on them, and there's nobody doing anything about it.
Right.
And administratively, only because the video becomes public, it starts to be a big deal. But the cops in the situation, I don't see them doing the things that I would like to see them do.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was awesome that he did, he had that guy get arrested for hitting his, prisoner, or the person that got arrested. And for it to go viral, I think it's because everybody was like, they actually did that. That's what I thought when I first saw it, until I looked at it this morning, because we were going to talk about it. And I was like, okay, let me go back through and make sure I got all the details. And I read the article and I was like, man, it's a security guard. Yeah. It was good though. It kind of boosted. I know great cops.
I do too.
I know
heroes.
Great
cops that are heroes.
Cops, right. So that almost was a hero situation.
I would call it that.
Yeah, that almost was a hero situation. And then it's good that he did have that guy arrested, because nobody's going to tolerate. It shows that particular police officer doesn't tolerate any BS around him. So that was good. It's still a good story. It's still a good story that he made sure that that person that was under arrest or in handcuffs was, now under his custody, and he has to protect his customer, or his person that he arrested. So I think it was still a good story, and that they did a great job.
That's
at that minute.
The thing is, there's millions of interactions where cops are doing great jobs.
Yeah,
we don't see them.
We don't see it.
Why are you not going to capture a video on your phone?
And that's the problem.
And go, oh, this cop didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
That's not going to make a news feed.
Yeah, I know great, fabulous, amazing cops, and so all these bad videos that show, I don't know those people.
The vast majority of the cops are great.
Awesome.
It's the ones.
Right.
It's the ones. But it's like the situation that we were talking about with the rape, right? If there's somebody there that sees it happen and they don't do anything, and you're a cop, like, you're not a good cop.
You're just as guilty.
Right. So if we're going to hold a person, and I'll say this to the person that stood by and watched the rape, if it happened like that, right? That's what the girls are saying.
Yeah.
And my thought is either, you participated or you stood by, just like they're saying you stood by.
Stood by.
Like, you got punked.
Yeah.
Like, why are they comfortable doing that in front of you?
Right.
You're not participating, but then you're just standing by and watching.
Right.
Like, they don't respect you.
Yeah.
The same with the other cops. When it's a situation with cops, to me, they don't respect the cops that are around them because they feel like I can do whatever I want and they're not going to say anything.
Right. That's true. It's good that it happened just like that. Like,
Right.
it didn't get
That's the right
crazy.
thing.
Yeah, it didn't get out of hand. And the person who videotaped was, good for him. They were
Right.
cheering that person got. So I get it. It's a good video. It's a good video catching a police officer doing the right thing. And
It's not what I thought it was, but
Yeah.
it's still a good video.
which is what police officers do the right thing every day, a million times a day. We just don't see it.
Right.
We don't see it. And so, people only bring their phones out when something bad is happening. Nobody ever brings their
Well, they
phone
may bring it
you know?
out and then they film something good and then it never hits, like, they don't post it. I mean, they probably just erase it right after that. Well, there was nothing interesting in that video.
Right. Yeah. Tadao said police officers that stand around watching other police officers commit crimes are just as guilty and they should all be tried as criminals, which I think sometimes they all get, like George Floyd, when that police officer that got killed or
Chauvin,
that killed
Chauvin,
George,
whatever.
Floyd, that the other cops that were just standing there not doing anything, they got arrested too. But I have to say this again, that 100% of the police officers that I know are amazing human beings. They follow the law. You know what I mean? The videos that we see of people, the bad cops, that I think, what is that? 10% of,
Not even that.
Yeah.
And some of the videos you see look bad, but then when you see the whole video, it's not as bad as it looks. It's just a 8-second clip of a 4-minute video. And then you see the other, the rest of the video and you're like, oh, I didn't know that he was handcuffed, but he had a shank in his hand, or something. But a lot of times you don't even get the whole story with the video. But yeah, the vast majority, they have millions of interactions, millions and millions of interactions that don't go bad. They just go the way that they're supposed to go.
They go the way they're supposed to go.
We're never going to see those.
We don't see those. Yeah, exactly. Nobody records a good
I'm not going to get any likes or comments if I post, hey, here's a cop that just pulled somebody over, gave him a ticket and let him go. Well, no likes, no shares, no comments.
Yeah.
That's not going to do anything. Delete that and video something else. But
that's the sad thing.
That's social media.
So and we should start posting positive things. I know it's not going to happen because you don't get likes and shares.
No likes, no comments.
Yeah,
no
that's
shares.
the sucky part about the internet is everybody's in it for the likes and the shares, and so they're going to post the most outrageous,
most,
crazy video before they post people doing good. And people doing good, that video does good too, but not as well as the video of bad shit happening. So I don't know. I don't know. I love police officers because they're the ones that I know are good people. And I've yet to come across an asshole cop. And but I do still have that conversation with my son and my girls too. Really, I should be having it with my girls, but my son is a man of color. And so if he gets pulled over, he knows, keep your hands on your steering wheel, don't move, wait for them to ask for your license. It's just, that's the way America is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
That's my goal when I get pulled over, is to drive away.
Oh,
At some
Lord.
point, I want to be able. No, I mean that's my goal is.
Is to drive.
To
Yes,
be able to
yes.
drive away.
Yes.
At the end of the interaction.
Exactly.
Is to drive away.
That's the goal, is
Right.
to drive away so that you can have your day in court, not,
Or not
you
even
can't
a
have
day
your
in court,
argument.
but-
You really can't have your argument with a police officer right there and then.
Argue with an
It's
officer on the side of the road is probably going to get you nowhere,
not going to
and
get
it
you
could
anywhere.
get you in a really bad place.
Right. And I have to say that, police officers start their day every day with all kinds of news bulletins, beware of this and look for that and be careful of garbages that we found. You know what I mean? They get so many notifications. So they're really just, when they pull you over, that is not the time to argue about your ticket.
Yeah. Well,
Take
a goal
it to
there,
court.
make
Right.
the person comfortable. I don't want the cop being uncomfortable. And I
Yes.
see some of these videos where they're like, I don't have to identify myself. And after that, I'm like, wow, more power to you. I would
Yeah.
never, ever
I couldn't
do that.
I couldn't do that. You asked me a question. I'm just going to answer all the questions and give them all the information that I need so that I can live to go to court
Right.
and tell my story. Because right then and there, I could get shot. I could, depending on the situation. If they think I'm being aggressive, then they're
I
going to be
saw
aggressive.
just a horrific video of a guy that got convicted of planting evidence, and he was planting evidence on people, like he planted heroin on this mom, and the mom's on the phone talking to her husband, I think, and she's like, he's saying that I have a heroin spoon, and there's heroin. She goes, that's the spoon I ate my yogurt with today.
Yeah.
And you can tell she's like thinking she's going crazy. And then he comes over and starts lecturing her on like being a better person and just being honest. And she's in tears going, I don't do heroin.
Yeah.
But to see those kind of things and who's going to believe, like you go to court, who's going to believe, what's the court going to believe? They're going to believe the
Right.
officer?
Right.
Or are they going to believe you that's the yogurt? It's a spoon that I ate my yogurt with this
Right.
morning. They're going to believe the cop. And
Right.
they actually got this cop. They sent him to jail for planting the evidence. But those kind of things freak
Yeah.
me out. Like I don't want to give the cop a reason to do anything, because my word's not going to
Right.
hold up in court.
My girlfriend Vic is on. She's married to an awesome cop. She said, I appreciate your shout outs for the good cops. It's emotional times with all the cop bashing when you're married to a good one. That's exactly
Right.
true. He is a freaking badass guy. He's funny. He's like, I'm biased because I love him and her. And so, but there's a lot of cop bashing.
Well, think about, you see you see a Samoan person deal drugs. Well, do you say all Samoan? You don't paint that.
Yes.
So if you have them
Yes,
in the
that's a
same
bias,
thing,
right.
that's a bias, and
That's a bias.
That's stereotyping the entire group by the actions of the few.
Exactly.
So why would you do it to cops?
Right.
Like there are bad cops out there, but you don't paint all cops bad
Right.
because there are a few bad.
And there's tons and tons and tons of Pacific Islander cops.
Right.
Especially in the Bay Area. I mean, not especially, but in the Bay Area.
Where there's a big
there's
PI
a lot
population.
of PI. Yeah,
Right.
there's a big PI population. So there's lots and lots of great PI police officers. And I don't know. Just a lot more bad videos than good videos. So
Yep.
that's all.
That's a
Just
visibility.
Treat everybody with respect, no matter what.
And don't paint the entire group, because
Yes.
there are bad cops. There
Yeah.
are there are murderous cops. There are
Yeah.
cops that have like straight out murdered people.
Right.
It does not mean that
Every
the 2
cop.
million cops
Right.
in the United States
Yes.
are bad. Like
Right.
you wouldn't do that with people of color.
Right.
So why would you do it with a group of, a profession?
Yeah. So there you go. And that's our 2 cents on that.
We certainly didn't run out of time. We ran out of things to talk about today.
No. But Tadao and Kim Kimmy are having a conversation in the chat saying we should be on later because most PIs are in church right now. And so more people can engage in the conversation. I hear you, girl. That may or may not happen, but I hear you. That sounds good. We could have a conversation about that. Who knows? Emily Latu, thank you for tuning in live on Facebook. Tufa, Tsangafao. Hi, Tufa. And Sister Patricia is on. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. So, yeah, we've had discussions about COVID-19. And then Eleni Longi and her sister, who we give huge prayers and love to her and her family and their family, and hoping that all goes well and that they get the help that they need. Talking about good cops, bad cops, and the Harvey police that handled the situation that happened when he arrested someone. The security guard hit him, and then they arrested the security guard, which is awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. We played Reno and Hawaii's Last Christmas, so go check that out. If you're looking for your stimulus check, we don't know nothing about it, but
There was so $600 was approved.
$600.
And then as it was being approved, they said, let's up it to $2,000.
Yeah.
And then Mitch McConnell blocked that.
Just him by himself? Can he block it by himself?
He's the speaker, or he's the leader of the Senate, but it's Republican controlled. He can, and he did. So he stopped it from moving from 600 to 2,000 because he wants two things put into the bill. He wants a commission created to investigate the 2020 election and the fraud.
Oh, God.
He wants that in there. And he wants one other thing put in there. And then the Democrats said, no, the bill is the way that it is. So the 2000 bill died on the Senate floor. 600 got approved. And I think those are going out.
Those are already going out. Adele just said her daughter got hers on Friday.
Right.
Yay! But I mean, anything, right? Like, to me, the Senate, the Congress, everybody, starting from like March, should not be getting paid. Should not get paid until this pandemic or this thing is over. See how they like not getting money, income.
What's crazy is I don't understand how he continues to get elected. He's from Kentucky. It's one of the poorest states in the United States. It has extreme poverty. Extreme poverty. Those people need this money.
That means
his constituents.
He's not connected to
his voting population. His district needs this money as much, if not more, than any other district in the United States.
Right.
And he's the one saying no, and they still elect him. Like, I don't understand how he continues to stay in position. But hey, if the Democrats win the Senate in Georgia, then that changes everything. Because then he's not in the position that he's in. The Democrats control the Senate, and then we can have 99 problems, but a Mitch ain't one.
Very funny. Very funny. Yeah, I don't know. He's not connected to his voters. He's not connected to the United States, but I really think we need to cut their pay until this pandemic is over. So they can, I don't know if it's even going to make a dent in there, but poor Americans that are in the poverty level, they need this money, and not just once every 9 months. Like, and I know I've said this before, where other countries are giving their
$2,000 a
their
month.
citizen, like Canada gives their citizens $2,000 a month. And I was telling Minna, I had seen this this ad on TikTok where this guy says, and he's so serious and he's so funny, and he's like, and it's like a UNICEF commercial. He's like, for $1.64, you too can sponsor an American. It was so funny, but it's true. And the poverty level keeps rising in the United States, and people need the money. Like, I don't know what we need to do to, like, this $600 is not even a dent.
No.
But I know people need it and appreciate it. $2,000 would have been better, but $600 is better than nothing. How sad is that, right? To say, oh, $600 is better than nothing, but
it's crazy to me to see the comments on social media. They're upset about that they're going to send $600 million to Pakistan for a gender reassignment survey, and now you got nothing.
Yeah,
so
now I got nothing.
But people don't understand that foreign aid has been happening for decades.
Yeah.
We've been giving Pakistan, I'll just use Pakistan as the most ridiculous example. We've been giving them billions of dollars. They're a militant country. They have nuclear weapons. They're a state sponsor of terrorism. They have terror camps where they train terrorists. They were harboring Osama bin Laden himself when we got him. When we got him in that compound where the SEAL team got Osama bin Laden, that was in Pakistan. So that's the company that we get, or the country that we give billions of dollars to.
Yeah.
Our tax dollars given to a country that harbors Osama bin Laden, that has nuclear weapons, that sponsors terrorism. We're giving them billions of dollars. That whole foreign aid thing, and what we do is we give $600 million to a bunch of rich people in Pakistan, and we hope they distribute it the way that they should, but they distribute it however they want. Foreign aid doesn't make any sense, and it's nice. That's one of the benefits, I think, of people actually looking at what's going through and the bills that are going through, where people are like, I don't want my tax dollars going to Pakistan.
Yeah.
Do you think a Jewish taxpayer wants their tax dollars going to Pakistan? Like, stop the foreign aid. Take the money, and it's our money anyway. So put it back to the people that are paying the taxes.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you. It doesn't make any sense. And I know I don't understand the whole thing, but it's pretty simple. Common sense right there.
They're taking our tax dollars and they're giving them to rich people in other countries.
Right. So
the rich people don't even need the money.
They don't even need the money. They probably don't even feel a dent or, So, yeah, I just think it's time for us to take care of the United States, and that Mitch guy needs to get off of there. So I mean, you got $600 coming to your bank account if you have direct deposit, if you make like under a certain amount of money, but
hopefully they fix that and there's more money coming. Because it's not a stimulus. They keep calling it stimulus. It's not stimulus. That's relief.
Yeah.
Stimulus is like, oh, let's get the economy going. No, this is relief. This is people are going to buy groceries and stuff with this.
Right. This is somebody trying to live. So hopefully we can get it more than people need it. This kind of check more often.
Right.
Not once every 9 months.
Because we're going to recover through 2021.
Yes. 2021 is going to be a better year for everyone. Already is. All right, people, guess what? We just went way past our time. Vic is asking about Mo. Mo is doing good, Vic. Thank you. Mo is recovered from COVID-19 and he is back at work. Thank you, Jesus.
Still the most patient man in there.
Oh, my God. No. I think we're all done. We've covered everything. Thank you for tuning in. Maybe next Sunday I'll wear makeup. maybe. That's all. I got nothing. That's all I got. Tomorrow, Koviki Talk is a replay of one of our past episodes. We are all on a break this week, so we'll be replaying Koviki Talk. Tuesday, we will be Faikaing at 5 p.m. We have a guest, Joseph. And then Wednesday at 10 a.m., you'll find us on Island City Media. Go download the Dash Radio app. Tune in at 10 a.m. Wednesday. And then, we'll see you here live for, Faika.
Faika on Tuesday.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. We hope everyone gets better, has a great week, and come back to Faika with us.
Love you.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Once bitten and twice shy, I keep my distance and you still catch my eye. Tell me,